Right guys, Mark Crossfield here with GolfOnline 360 show. I'm outside, I'm a bit croaky because I'm still not quite there. But we're talking this week, my top 3 launch tips. I get lots of questions about people saying, oh, my driver goes too high or my driver goes too low. I'm going to talk to you about 3 practical ideas that might affect launch, and then also some ideas on how you can manipulate those and work them into your game to give you a greater understanding. Right, so I've hit a couple of shots with GC2 HMT here, and my average launch is around 10 degrees with the way my driver is set up at the moment. Things that are going to influence that launch, the first key thing that's going to influence your launch, if you're someone wondering why your drivers always go too high or always too low, is the strike point on the face. What's the difference in these 2 shots in launch? So I can hit one, that one's at the bottom of the club, going out considerably lower, launching at 5.2 degrees, and now I'm going to hit one. I feel like I'm going to catch it much higher on the face, so I felt like I swung under the ball a bit more there, got the club lower. That one's launching at 12.5. It's a massive difference in launch angles there from my strike power. If you're someone who is consistently hitting it on the top of the face, you're going to consistently hit the ball a little high. You might choose to change lofts on your club, which we'll come to in a second, but maybe playing with strike as that first port of call would be much more proactive than just instantly thinking you need a new driver or a different club or a different loft. Identifying where your strike is on that face is going to give you a great insight to why your shots launch the way they do. Right, next point that I see with students is the loft they deliver. So the dynamic loft, it's called. You'll hear a term called dynamic loft. So what happens if I hit this drive just as I feel I would normally hit it? I got it slightly lower on the face, but my dynamic loft number there, shot 7 there, my dynamic loft, I delivered 15.7 degrees of loft. So this driver's set down at 9 degrees, and I delivered more, 15.7 degrees of loft. I added loft to try and get launch. Now, if I'm someone who always hits the ball very high, for instance, what I might do is I might make a swing where I put the twist of the club this way on the backswing, just twisting the club around this axis of the shaft this way. For me now to hit target, that feels like that face is going to point a long way right. I'm going to have to feel like I'm leaning back with the club head going through. If I do this kind of swing, it's a very different shot. I've leaked it a little bit, but still finding a part of the fairway. Dynamic loft on that one is 24 degrees. So I'm moving the loft of this club delivered down at the ball drastically by the movements I put into that, around the twists and the angles I'm putting into the face. For you guys, understanding what twists and turns you might be putting in, from what kind of grips you might start with, would really help you understand your launch angle in a better way, and hopefully help you bring it in. No club, no fixable neck. It's going to move that dynamic loft as much as it would need to from those 2 shots. That's going to be a very much technique based improvement. So look, little idea, if you're someone who struggles with the ball going very, very high, and you've established it's not your strike, so you might be putting in a twist in like I've been doing there, what I would like you to do to start, and this is a tricky drill to do, I want to set yourself up as if you're going to hit a normal straight shot, but just turn the club face so it's around 10-15 degrees, what I would call left of target in your setup. So don't turn your hands, turn the club in your hands just to set that club pointing a bit further left than you would want it. And the game is to try and not let your shots go left. So for me not to hit left from here, I'm going to have to push the handle forwards, I'm going to have to drive my body through to try and get that face not pointing so far left. Now that launch is a very opposite launch to the one if I was putting the twists around the club this way on the backswing. Because I actually did there is I started in a way that would make me hit the ball with less loft, and I actually tried to deliver more loft from where I started, but with much more different relationship for handle and head than I would have if I had this big twist in the face on that backswing. Little tip there if you're someone who's struggling with hitting it really high. I use that drill with students. It completely transforms the way they launch and shows them how much control they have if they get an understanding of this twist. Right guys, and the last way I would look at trying to control a student's launch is I've changed the loft of the driver. Often always the first port of call. If you go more this order, I think you'll be more constructive. So I've changed my driver to 2 degrees more loft from this initial 9, so it's now up to 11. I was launching at around 10 on my first 2 shots. If the driver set up at 11, ball gone much higher, felt like a higher launch. That one is launching at 14.9, so nearly 15 degrees. Now the only thing you got to be careful when changing the necks on the club is good players, and funnily enough, it doesn't just correspond with good players. I see all levels of standards of golfers doing this. If you give them enough time with a desire to hit target, they will override what the loft is set at. So I've just hit that considerably lower, still with 11 degrees of loft. All I did there is delivered considerably less, 12 degrees of loft, and launched that at 7 degrees. So what I did is overrid the extra loft I put on, and you'll find that happens to lots and lots of students. And like I say, and I've seen it through from really good players to higher handicappers, adjusting to the club I give them. Give those tips a go. Let me know what you think. Post comments down below. As always, let's get that launch under control. Might just maximise a little bit of distance for you, and hopefully get you hitting a few more fairways.